good evening, guys, once again. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you guys who took your time to be here today. That is a very good step to being Ndikumulamwa. Like Cox explained, Ndikumulamwa is basically, an initiative by TIG, that's Taban Invest Group. So this campaign is aimed at mentoring and interesting young, youthful Ugandans, Africans into commerce or business, right? So how did this whole thing come up? We have come across a lot of programs, government programs, programs by a lot of different entities to try and work on poverty eradication in our country, outside our country, and everyone, the poverty talk is the talk of the world, right? And as African people, we know that Africa is one of those places with what is defined as chronic unemployment. That is poverty of the really highest order, which means most of us are actually unemployed, right? So when you think about this problem, they say, if you want to change the world, find a problem and a solution to the problem, right? So our solution, our Ugandan solution, our African solution for this big problem that our country faces called unemployment, which is even highest among the youth, was Ndikumulamwa. And what does Ndikumulamwa stand for? We have three core principles that really represent well our vision for this youth mentorship campaign, business mentorship campaign. Number one is Ndikumulamwa youth or Ndikumulamwa person is a person who has a vision. Number two, the Ndikumulamwa character or person is a person who has desire. Number three is the Ndikumulamwa person or character is a person who takes action. My sister here was talking about the lady next to Kevin. She's talking about a restaurant, a saloon she's going to open up soon. And, kudos to that. That is really inspiring. I don't know where she identified the need for a saloon or what location a saloon is going to be at. But those are the kind of things that we want to solve here at TIG with the Ndikumulamwa Business Mentorship Campaign. We want to help the young people understand that for us, in order for us to take the next step towards solving the biggest problem in our country, that is people not having jobs, that is frustrated youth, and a lot of other things that really bring a lot of stress and depression. We think we have a very serious problem. As I'm going to interact with you guys, I want to really, this is going to be one of those interactive sessions. I would like you guys to, I would like us to, together, first, before we even go further, we need to identify some of the problems we have as Ugandan people, as young people. What are those things that divert us away from being focused and being able to identify opportunities? Because I will confidently say that our country has opportunities, but we have not been able to take a closer look at our own country and be able to magnify, put ourselves into a spot and assess ourselves as individuals to see where we are going actually wrong. And there's a lot. If you see the kind of things that drive us as young people in our country, you realize that we are more often just distracted. A lot of distraction. Like my brother Cox was saying, mentioned earlier here, if this was a party and we, for example, said we are giving away free drinks for people who attend this party, be rest assured that by 3, we said 3, by 4, the people who are fans of what you fully. Nowadays, when you interact in those groups, you find people being so excited about flu. Free. So people are driven by those things that are really destructive and those things that don't really help much. And that is what sadly inspires a lot of young people. Ndikumulamwa is one of those campaigns that's going to be tackling and really dealing with the actual problem statement. Right? And we know that if we start nurturing our minds as young Ugandan people, to start seeking for those things that drive our minds into the positive direction, then we can achieve a lot. Your mind can only be your limit. If you are a negative-driven person and all you think about is the problems you have, the problem of the world, and who hurt you, who said something wrong about you, who, made you miss the other deal, and who basically all the negative things that you'd imagine, then something's got to be wrong in your life. Those kind of things bring depression, stress, and all those things are not good for health, right? You find most of the youth in our country being dependent of somebody, being dependent of their families. And often that triggers them in a mode of being so reluctant and relaxed about doing things, about going out there and pushing themselves even further to try and see what the world has to offer or what our country has to offer. COVID, as I've been sharing with my brother every time we interact, my brother Rabadaba, my brother Cox, we always say that COVID is a COVID was a blessing in a disguise, because it kind of like got us off guard, and I'm sure it kind of woke us up as African people, right? We African people have been marginalized, and for some reason we often find ourselves complaining for the wrong reasons. I call them the wrong reasons because we often complain about the past and don't look forward to the future, right? Abazungu batukola kino tuli mabega lwa kubanga we were colonized. So what? I mean, what are you doing about it? Most of the times we complain and we do nothing. If we can nurture our minds to understand that our life, we have the responsibility of deciding what we want our lives to be like. You know, I'm going to tell you guys a small story. I think I actually forgot to introduce myself. My name is Idro Taban Jr. I'm the team leader here at TIG. And I'm going to tell you guys a story. And this story is it's about my family, where I come from. My father, the Taban Senior, started his business almost 40 years ago. For those of you who have gone to Arua, and happen to have traveled to West Nile or Arua, you must be kind of like aware of the KK family, KK buses and all that stuff. But in Arua town, where you see the KK Plaza, that was formerly Arua Market. And that's where my father, who was born from a very broke family, as a matter of fact, it's very sad, some of the stories that he shares with us. When my late grandfather died, they didn't even have money to buy a coffin, so they had to bury him in, you know, those papyrus things. And the only thing that he left them with was a very old Hero bicycle. So that's when Taban Senior started thinking of ways of how to, you know, bring his family out of that extreme poverty. And he started selling eggs. But for him, he was doing it in the market. where right now, when he wanted that land of Kampala, where he put KK Plaza, with the story I'm telling you guys now, Arua municipality said, man, this man here, those people who knew him were like, this man here used to sell eggs here, and he wants to, to do something in memory of the place that kick-started him. He started by selling eggs, and right now he built like a multi-million-dollar kind of company. My dad stopped in S1, but he never let his background determine what future he wanted for himself and his family. The rest is history. So this, for you to be able to work towards a good future, all depends on your mindset. It depends on what you do as a person. It depends on what interests you have as a person, what sort of things what sort of people you keep around you. If you were, by the way, congrats to all of you guys who are here today. I really have to say this because it's not really easy for people to respond to something that is not fun. Like I said earlier, fun is what drives us here mostly. In Africa, in our country, fun. We think about fun all the time. But like I said, like the story I just shared with you guys now about my background and my father, I think what I drew as Idro from his story was this world is full of possibilities. We only have to tune ourselves into the right mindset and make sure that we grab our opportunities. But remember, desire. I said our core principles is the vision, the desire, and taking action. If you do not dream, have a vision, everything starts with a dream. So if you do not dream, it doesn't matter the size of the dream, but dreaming is the first step. If you dream, and then you build the desire, and then take action. I happen to have the privilege to be a very good friend to Rabadaba, and over the years I just learned a lot about Rabadaba. Like he's going to talk to you guys. Today he's here in the capacity of motivation. He'd like to inspire young people. He's Rabadaba, that many of you know as an artist, but he's also Rabadaba, the motivator. And he does many more things besides music. So, Rabba, very often when we sit and relax, he talks, he keeps on talking about his journey. And last year, some of the young people, he was motivating at Masters in Ntinda. We had a full house. The crowd was bigger than this, and he was talking to them about the hassle of trying to make it. And because most young people often nowadays you find them complaining, saying industry nzibu, batunyiga, abantu abakadde batunyiga, tebatwagaliza, man, those are excuses. Those are excuses. The gentleman here, man, his story is hard. It's hard. He never just got everything on the platter. That's not the way life works. You have to work. I've been with Rabba every single day. One thing that I've noticed about him is the most reliable person that I've ever come across. At least he's more reliable. I don't mind what other people know about him. That's them. The picture and the image I have is totally different. And it's always good to always keep the good records of people. We have the tendency here in Africa of trying to be people who are critics of each other. Twekwata mu maaso. Ti Muhammad leo no niyo manyo buzibu wa Muhammad kugamba netudda mu bintu ebitatugasa. Netudda mu bigambo wolokoso afuse wolokoso. Abantu enaku zino basiba mu inbox.
Medical students undergo conventional education. Study, graduate, go for internship,